Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. Well, spring has sprung, everyone. Although you wouldn't necessarily know it today since it's like 20 degrees where I am. But nevertheless, the official day of spring has passed, and so it is time for me to think about my quarterly, highly aspirational TBR. And so here we are, and I'm excited for what I am planning to read. We shall see how much of it I actually get done. But yeah, there's lots of great books coming up. So a couple I want to mention that I do not have copies of yet, but I have ordered. But I want to mention them now because I will probably forget to mention them otherwise. One book that I definitely want to read as soon as it comes out is The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is the second book in the Bloodsworn trilogy. I was fortunate enough to receive an arc of the first book last year. Loved it. Loved the saga inspiration behind it. Had a great time talking about it with the war band as well. And I am very much hoping that that will happen again for The Hunger of the Gods. In fact, I've already talked about it a little bit with Petrick, and so Petrick is ready to get the warband together again, and we will have hopefully a discussion on The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. So I definitely want to read that as soon as it comes out. Another book that I have ordered, don't have yet, is The Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton. In fact, when I went to order it, I noticed that they actually changed the title to The 13th Warrior after the film, I guess. Is that a thing? They can do that? They can change the title of a book after the movie comes out? Huh. I don't know if I quite agree with that. But anyway, that's what's been done apparently. But anyway, whatever it's called, I'm going to read it. And this is a result of the discussion that I had with Mike over on his channel, Mike's Book Reviews, about Beowulf, Tolkien's translation of Beowulf. And we had a grand time discussing that old English poem. And during the course of the discussion, Mike said, hey, why don't you, because he's a Michael Crichton fan. He's very well read. I have not yet read anything by Michael Crichton. And so it makes a ton of sense for me to read the Beowulf-inspired Eaters of the Dead, or 13th Warrior, whatever it's called. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read it, and we're going to have a chat on my channel, Mike and I, about that book. So I'm excited for that. So that's another one I've ordered, don't have yet, and that will happen this spring. So yeah, and now for the books that I actually do have here with me. I am currently reading and well into The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I'm enjoying this book a lot so far. I didn't know how I was going to like it. I had heard mixed opinions, some people who really love it, and then some people I know and respect who did not like it. And one of the things I heard a lot from both people who liked it and those who were less impressed by it was that they felt like it was YA and it wasn't necessarily marketed as such. So I don't really know what YA means anymore, if it means anything at all. I'm not sure so far if I would necessarily categorize this as YA even. It just, I don't care what you call it. If it's well written, that's what matters the most. And I would say that it is well written. I'm enjoying it very much and still kind of getting to know the characters in that stage, but well into that. So yeah, I am looking forward to finishing. This will be the first book that I review in the spring. And what else do I have here? Well, I'm pretty confident that my next read after City of Brass is going to be the last book in the Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham, the last book being The Price of Spring. Yes, The Price of Spring. I have the omnibus edition here, so that's books 3 and 4, but Price of Spring is in here. It's in the second half of this thing, and I've said many times on the channel, been so impressed with Daniel Abraham, particularly his character work, and I anticipate that The Price of Spring is going to impress me to no end. I believe that it's going to be a great conclusion to this series, so I'm excited to get on to that. Yeah. Good stuff, Daniel Abraham. If you haven't read The Long Price Quartet and you love really beautiful character work, not necessarily a ton of action. So if you're definitely an action-driven reader, maybe not. But if you love really fantastic character work, then I would highly recommend The Long Price Quartet. what else do we have here? I have Stephen King, Wolves of the Kala. So I just recently read The Wind Through the Keyhole. That's 4.5 in the Dark Tower series, and Wolves of the Kala is what follows, book 5 of the Dark Tower series. I am very excited to read this, and I know that it spoils Salem's Lot. I've been warned, and I thank everyone who has mentioned that. I do know that, and I'm choosing, I think, to just go ahead and read Dark Tower. I'm not somebody who gets bothered by spoilers very much, so that's one thing. And another thing I've mentioned is that Stephen King tends to spoil his own books a lot, and that's not a bad thing because he's so talented that he can keep the tension and the interest. So I'm not particularly worried about that, and I don't even know when I would get to Salem's Lot necessarily. Someday, because I am enjoying Stephen King's writing immensely. And I would say Dark Tower is going to have a firm place in my top 10 fantasy series of all time. So at least that's how I feel right now. We'll see what happens with books 5, 6, and 7. But yeah, Wolves of the Kala, I hope to read that very soon. And these next reads will probably follow, I think maybe will follow Wolves of the Kala. I'm pretty sure. But whenever I have my Dust of Dreams discussion with AP over at A Critical Dragon, then I'm going to start the final book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, The Crippled God. And I've said so much about this incredible series. This is a reread for me, but I'm just excited as can be to get to the final book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And we will have lots of videos and celebrations and all kinds of analysis and discussion of not only The Crippled God, but the entire series. I'm sure that I will be talking for the rest of my life about this tremendous work of literature, this masterpiece. So, yeah, I'm excited to get to that. And it will be relatively soon, I believe. And that will be followed by Ian Esselman's A Sail. So I'm actually, in a way, even more excited to read A Sail because it's the only Malazan book I haven't read yet. And Ian Esselman himself let me know a little bit about the book, and what he told me has me extremely excited to read A Sail, which will be the last book in the Malazan world currently published for me to read. So I am very excited to finish the Novels of the Malazan Empire series as well. And I can consider myself then perhaps a Malazan veteran at that point. I don't know. Well, maybe. I think I've earned that maybe at this point. So after that, AP and I are going to be starting something new. And I'm very, very excited about this. And I have here with me the beautiful hardcover edition of Curse of the Mist Wraith by Jenny Wirtz. This is the first book in the Wars of Light and Shadow, which is an 11-book series. This is going to be kind of the main feature of my channel for the next year or so. And the same way that Malazan has been the main feature of the channel, I would like to put this series front and center. This, from what I've heard from the people I know who are reading it or who have read it, this is a series that I should like very much, that I should love based on what they know of my taste, and I trust those people very much. So I'm very excited to get into this series, starting with Curse of the Mist Wraith. So yeah, I'm really, really super overjoyed to be reading this based on what I've heard, and also having had the privilege to meet Jenny Wirtz in Florida at the ICFA conference. It was not a long meeting, probably for an hour or so, but wow, what a wonderful personality. And so I'm just excited to see what she's come up with here. I think this series will go down as her masterpiece. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it's all about. And AP and I will also be reading, as I've said before, some David Gemmell, starting with Legend and continuing in the Draenei series, so that is something that I am very eager to get to as well. Yeah, we'll be alternating. So I think AP and I will probably be reading together and reviewing a couple books a month. That's the plan right now. So it would be nice to do a sort of shorter one along with the longer ones. So this would be perfect for that. And another one that AP and I will be reading together will be The Realm of the Elderlings as a whole. And I think we're going to take our time with it. It'll take probably a couple years. And of course, we'll begin at the beginning with Assassin's Apprentice, Book 1 of the Farseer trilogy. This will be a reread for me. I've read the first 2 trilogies in Realm of the Elderlings already. Love them. Just on the basis of those 2 trilogies, Robin Hobb is a top 5 author for me. So I am really excited to finally get onto this track of reading The Realm of the Elderlings and gradually finishing the entire thing. I mean, this is something that, again, is going to be a main feature for, well, a couple of years probably on the channel. So yeah, lots of good stuff coming here because I know how amazing Robin Hobb is. Talk about character writers. She is the very best. You know, when it comes to writing characters, she is just tremendous. So another one that I'm not sure if we win or how we'll squeeze it in, but I'm also very interested in reading Janie Wirtz's collaborative Daughter of the Empire, the Empire trilogy that she wrote with Raymond Feist, which I hear is going to be made into a television series. So it might be a good time to finally read this trilogy as well. So, but we'll figure out when we're going to work that in. And yeah, these rest, I don't know exactly when I'm going to get to them. Hopefully, I will get to them at some point before summer. I have other reads that I know I'm going to do in the summer, some that you might be thinking, wait, is he going to read? Well, I'm going to read it later. So, for example, Gene Wolfe's Book of the New Sun is one I'm going to read, but later in the year. So, another one is going to be R. Scott Baker's Prince of Nothing trilogy. Going to read The Darkness That Comes Before in the summer. So, not a spring book. That's going to be a summer book, and I'm going to be buddy reading that one. So, I'm saving that for summer. So, I had not dropped it. Fear not. And then others that I'm going to continue with the Andrzej Sapkowski Witcher books. I've read the 2 short story collections. It is time for me to move on and read the novels, give them a try, and starting with Blood of Elves. So I'm looking forward because I did enjoy getting to know the characters in those short stories, in the 2 short story collections. So yeah, another one that I'm really excited to get to because this is another top author for me. One of my favorites is Mark Lawrence. I love the 2 trilogies of his that I've read. I have read the Broken Empire trilogy and the Red Queen's War trilogy, both set in the same world. Now I'm going to be reading the Book of the Ancestor, starting with Red's sister. And this is a different world, and I have heard about the assassin nuns. And I've heard that this is a brilliant book, and that does not surprise me, given what I've seen so far of Mark Lawrence's. He's, like I said, another top 10 author for me, and I believe that this will not disappoint. So I'm eager to get to the Book of the Ancestor. And another one, as sort of a continuing thing for me, is the Dresden Files, Jim Butcher's Dresden Files, and I am on Book 5, Death Masks. I have this and the next book ready to go on my shelf. I love the Dresden Files so far. I find myself more and more getting pulled into this series. I had a few hesitations with the first couple books, but after finishing, especially book 4, I'm all in for the Dresden Files. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this one is all about because I have heard a lot of praise for book 5 in the Dresden Files, Death Masks. So that's something I definitely want to get to. Might even get to the next one as well. These are really enjoyable. They have been for me. And another one I would really like to get to. I have all the books ready to go on my shelves. Josiah Bancroft's Books of Babel, and starting with Sandlin Ascends. And this one checks all the marks for me. I think that this is a series that I'm going to really love. And I am told by people who know me on BookTube, aka Alan, that I'm going to love these books. And I think he's most likely right. He was right about the Long Price Quartet. he's probably right about Josiah Bancroft's Books of Babel as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. I think this is going to be something different that I'm going to really appreciate. So yeah, and I have some wonderful kind of self-published books here. One from one of my buddies who is a frequent viewer on the channel. That would be Simon Howard, and a wonderful fellow. And he's got this little collection here called, I love the title, An Ode to the Odd and the Old. And this is something that I'm looking forward to reading very much. He has these wonderful poems in here. And he, like me, is a dog lover. So I'm expecting there to be, in fact, there's a little picture of a dog on the back here, a lab. And my dog is half lab and half beagle. I guess that's called a bigador. So I love labs. I love dogs. So I'm really looking forward to this little read, and perhaps I'll have a little chat with Sai about this. And another book that is actually, this is not self-published. It's a hybrid published book. So hybrid published meaning, and this particular press is called Next Chapter. And the book is called By the God's Ears. It's by Christopher Fly, who is, by the way, another person who is active here on BookTube. A wonderful fellow who has this Chanson de Guerre. This is book 1. I'm actually not sure how many books are in the series, but this is book 1, and I'm very much looking forward to reading it. And as I was saying a moment ago, it is a hybrid published book, meaning that Next Chapter does most of the things that a ordinary publisher would do. The difference is that I believe, and Christopher, if you watch this and I get this wrong, please correct me, but the difference is that the author is in charge of all the publicity and the marketing and all of that. So the publisher doesn't do any of that. That's all on the author. But the publisher does all the other stuff that a publisher normally would do. It takes care of those costs. So yeah, I think I got that right. But yeah, I mean, whatever it is, I'm very much looking forward to reading By the God's Ears by Christopher Fly, who is another person who's active here on BookTube and somebody that I very much would like to support. So, and another one that I need to get to, a book sent to me by Jeffrey Spate, Paladin Unbound, and this is part of the Archives of Evelium. So I don't know again how many books are in this particular series, but this is looks like a really cool book, and I am looking forward to checking out Paladin Unbound. I've actually heard a couple things about it. I've heard that it's a great read, so I am very much looking forward to. And these they aren't particularly long books, so I should be able to get to them before summer, I most certainly hope. Although I'll have to save some self-published reads for the summer. I'm sure there are plenty more out there for me. So, because I believe that August is going to be Indie August. So I hope that a lot of us booktubers will join in Indie August, which is something that Benjamin over at Literature and Lofi is organizing. Just as he did the February She Wrote event, he's starting something called Indie August. And so that'll be a month to read self-published indie press books. So yeah, that is something I would like to participate in as well. But I'll have to be done with those well before August. I'll have to get some more, I guess. And then one other self-published book that I have and I'm looking forward to is Dead Boy's Game and the Broken Vow by A. David Singh. And this, all I know about it is that, as you can see at the top, it's Magical Rome Universe. So it is a Roman-inspired fantasy, which sounds extremely intriguing to me. And I am looking forward to, even the names on the back sound very Roman, Latin. So cool. I'm looking forward to this very much as well. And that's what I have here. That is all that I have for spring. I will do my very best to get to all these. I may even get a little further in some of the series, such as Dark Tower. I would like to get finished with that series, ideally before summer, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. At least I will get to, most certainly, Wolves of the Kala, because that's a priority. And I may not be able to resist the urge to finish the Dark Tower before I get to some of the other books. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff to come. And I look forward to interacting with you guys, discussing some of these books, with some of my fellow booktubers and hearing what you guys have to say in the comments. Until next time.